Human body, circulatory system. The circulatory system. In humans, the circulatory system is the combined function of the heart, blood, and blood vessels to transport oxygen and nutrients to the organs and tissues throughout the body and carry away waste products. The elements of this circulatory system are heart, blood vessels, and blood. Heart. The heart is a dark red conical structure located in the middle of the chest, slightly towards the left side. It is enclosed by a double-walled membranous sac called the pericardium. The heart is the engine of the circulatory system. The heart is divided into 4 chambers. The 2 upper chambers are called left and right auricles, and 2 lower left and right chambers are called ventricles. The walls of these chambers are made of a special muscle called myocardium, which contract continuously and rhythmically to pump blood. Functioning of the heart. 1. The heart pumps blood to all parts of the body. 2 pumps work simultaneously. 2. The right auricle takes in oxygen, poor blood, impure from the body, through 2 veins, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. 3. From the right auricle, blood moves to the right ventricle and pumps it to the lungs through pulmonary artery, where it exchanges carbon dioxide for oxygen. 4. The oxygenated blood, pure, then returns to the left auricle through pulmonary veins. From left auricle, blood moves into left ventricle. 5. Oxygen-rich blood leaves the left ventricle through aorta. Aorta and its arteries circulate the blood to all parts of the body. Know this. Average heart of man beats about 70 to 80 times in a minute. During each heartbeat, about 60 to 90 ml of blood is pumped out of the heart. If the heart stops pumping, death usually occurs within 4 to 5 minutes. Heartbeat. There are 2 stages in each heartbeat cycle, the systole and the diastole. In diastole, the heart muscle relaxes and blood is drawn into the 2 auricles. Rising pressure in each auricle opens the tricuspid and mitral valves and blood flows into the ventricles. Each auricle contracts, filling the ventricles to full capacity. During the systole stage, the filled ventricles contract and the mitral and tricuspid valves close, the aortic and pulmonary valves are forced open and blood pushes out into the arteries. Then the heart relaxes. The aortic and pulmonary valves close and diastole starts again. Pulse. Pulse is a rhythmic expansion of the arteries resulting from passage of successive flow of blood produced by continuing contractions of the heart. In disease, the pulse rate usually varies in direct ratio to the body temperature. Blood vessels. The blood vessels are tube-like structures within which blood circulates. The blood vessels are of 3 types. 1. Arteries. The blood vessels that carry away oxygenated blood, pure, from the heart to different parts of the body are called arteries. They are lined with muscles to withstand pressure. 2. Veins. The vessels that carry deoxygenated, impure blood from different parts of the body to the heart are called veins. They contain semilunar valves, which prevent backward flow of the blood. 3. Capillaries. The arteries are converted into fine tubules, which are called arterioles, and finally into capillaries, which form a network. They are the tiny link between the arteries and the veins where oxygen and nutrients diffuse into the blood tissues. Differences between different blood vessels. Arteries, veins, capillaries. 1. Carry blood from the heart to other organs and body parts. Bring back blood to heart from other organs and body parts. Carry blood from arteries to veins. 2. Carry oxygenated blood. Carry deoxygenated blood. Carry both. 3. Thick muscular walls have no valves. Thick muscular walls have valves. Very thin made up of single have no valves. Know this. The circulatory system helps maintain body temperature. Blood vessels expand to release heat, allowing us to cool down, and narrow or constrict to conserve heat. Blood. Blood is a vital fluid found in humans and other animals that provide oxygen and important nourishment to all body organs and tissues and carry away waste materials. It is a complex, sticky fluid of deep red color. An average healthy man has 6 to 7 liters of blood in the body. It is continuously circulated by the pumping action of the heart. Blood consists of 2 main parts. 1. A liquid part of the blood called the plasma. 2. A solid part called red blood cells or blood corpuscles. Plasma. Plasma constitutes the major part of the blood, which is about 55%. It is yellowish and consists of water, salts, proteins, vitamins, minerals, hormones, dissolved gases, and fats. Functions. The functions of plasma are: 1. Plasma carries a large number of important proteins, including albumin, gamma globulin, and clotting factors such as prothrombin, fibrinogen, and heparin. 2. It helps to regulate the water content of tissues and blood. Blood cells or blood corpuscles. Blood cells are of 3 kinds. 1. Red blood corpuscles. Erythrocytes. Red blood corpuscles, RBCs, are small-sized, biconcave discs which are without nuclei. RBCs make up almost 45% of the blood volume. A healthy man contains about 4 to 5 million red blood cells per milliliter of blood. RBCs are composed mainly of a protein and iron compound called hemoglobin. It captures oxygen molecules as the blood moves through the lungs, giving red color to the blood. Their primary function is to carry oxygen from the lungs to every cell in the body. 2. White blood corpuscles. Leukocytes. The white blood corpuscles are large, irregular-shaped nucleated structures. Their number varies from 5,000 to 8,000 per milliliter of blood. Their number increases during an infection in the body. These cells form antibodies which kill the antigens produced by the germs in the blood. 3. Platelets. Thrombocytes. The platelets are small, oval, colorless, flat, granular corpuscles which are without nuclei. At the time of injury, they help in the clotting of blood. Functions of the blood. The main functions of blood are: 1. Transport of oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients and hormones to all parts of the body. 2. Maintains the water balance in the cells. 3. The circulatory system increases the flow of blood to meet the increased energy demands during exercise. 4. Regulates the body temperature. 5. Protects from harmful organisms like bacteria, virus and protozoa. Blood clotting. Sometimes there is an injury in the body which causes the blood to flow, but within a few minutes it stops flowing and forms a clot. Blood clotting involves the following steps. 1. On the injured surface, the blood from the capillaries act on the fibrinogen present on the plasma to produce a network of fiber-like structures of insoluble fibrin. 2. The red blood cells are captured in the network and a watery liquid, serum, oozes out from the injured part. 2. The fiber network of fibrin together with the blood cells shrink and form a solid clot which checks the flow of blood and results into clot formation. Blood pressure. It is the pressure of circulating blood against the walls of the arteries. It is an important diagnostic index, especially of circulatory function. Blood pressure is measured at 2 points, the high point at which the heart contracts to empty its blood into the circulation, called systole, and the low point at which the heart relaxes to fill with blood returned by the circulation, called diastole. Pressure is measured in millimeters, mm, of mercury by an instrument called a sphygmomanometer. During a single cardiac cycle or heartbeat, the blood pressure reaches maximum during systole and minimum during diastole. The blood pressure of a normal healthy person is 120/80 systole-diastole. Very high and very low blood pressure is supposed to be dangerous. Blood group. Sometimes, due to serious injury, there is bleeding. If it is not checked, the person can die. In such cases, the victim requires blood from another person. In 1902, Karl Landsteiner discovered for the first time that blood in all persons is not identical. It is essential that the blood of donor should be identical to receiver, otherwise the blood of donor becomes clumped in the RBCs of receiver. This is called clumping and the patient will die. Karl Landsteiner classified the blood of human beings into 4 groups. These are A, B, AB and O. They produce different kinds of antigens on the surface of their red blood corpuscles as given in table. Persons having blood group O can donate their blood to all and are called universal donors. The AB group persons are universal acceptors because they can receive the blood from all. Each antigen produces one antibody in the blood. All foreign bodies or germs act as an antigen. Antibodies are present in the serum of the blood. Different blood groups. Blood group, antigen present, antibody present, can donate to, can receive from A, B, A and AB, A and O, B, A, B and AB, B and O, AB, A and B, none, AB, all groups, O, none, A and B, all groups, O. Antigen. Antigens are proteins that stimulate the production of an antibody when introduced into the body of human. Most common antigen producers are bacteria and viruses. Antibody. Antibodies are the proteins which are formed by the white blood cells in the body in response to antigens, foreign substances. They kill antigens. Rh factor. Besides above blood groups, there is another antigen factor called Rh factor which is found on the surface of RBCs. It was discovered by Alexander Solomon and Karl Landsteiner 1937 in rhesus monkey. Most of the people having Rh factor in their blood group, such persons are called Rh positive. About 85% of humans are Rh positive. Rest are the Rh negative. Before blood transfusion, the blood group and Rh factor must be tested and these should be identical, otherwise RBCs are clumped together which leads to serious illness or death. Lymphatic system. The fluid that leaks out through the thin-walled capillaries is called lymph, which is conducted through special type of vessels called lymphatic vessels. The lymphatic system is an extensive and interconnected system of vessels, spaces and nodes in the body which circulate lymph, a fluid made from proteins and other fluids. Lymph is initially part of the blood, but as blood flows through the body, lymph slowly leaks out, taking waste substances with it and filtering these substances through nodes which trap these substances. The lymph is a yellowish fluid and is composed of sugar, salts, proteins, enzymes, and dissolved salts. The lymph contains many leukocytes but no platelets. The lymph vessel have swollen points at specific places called lymph nodes. The spleen is a major organ of lymphatic tissue. Functions. The main functions of lymphatic system are 1. To collect and transport the waste materials from tissues in the bloodstream. 2. To maintain the fluid balance in the internal environment. 3. Lymph nodes play an important role in the defense mechanism of the body. They filter out microorganisms, bacteria, and foreign substances, etc. Blood transfusion. You might have heard in the hospitals that a serious patient needs blood in emergency. In accidents or operations, patients lose large amount of blood, which results in blood deficiency or anemia. In such cases, blood is transferred from a healthy person to the affected patient. Blood transfusion is the procedure of introducing the blood of a donor into the bloodstream of the recipient. The transfusion of blood can only take place in matching groups only. Nowadays, there are blood banks present in hospitals from where one can get blood of the desired group in case of an emergency. Human body, nervous and endocrine system. The nervous system. When a bus comes towards you, you at once become cautious and step to one side of the road. Why did your legs move on seeing a bus? This is because at the very moment your nerves become active and they transmit the signal to the brain, which in turn alert your muscles to be cautious. The humans have a complex body consisting of different systems. Various activities are performed by these systems. The work of different parts of the body is coordinated by the nervous system. Nervous system is concerned with the reception of stimuli, the transmission of nerve impulses, and the activation of muscles mechanism. The nervous system of humans consists of central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, autonomic nervous system. Central nervous system. It includes the brain and the spinal cord. It processes and coordinates all the activities of humans. Memory, intelligence, and emotions are governed here. Brain. Brain is the vital and delicate part of the central nervous system. It is situated within the skull. Brain controls the vital activities for the survival of human. The brain has following three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Parts of the brain: structure, functions. Cerebrum, largest part of the brain. It has ridges and furrows. It consists of right and left halves. Responsible for memory, thinking, intelligence, sensation of pain, touch and sight, taste, smell and hearing, etc. Cerebellum, smaller, egg-shaped, found at the back of the skull. Responsible for muscular action, balance of the body. Medulla oblongata. It is the base of the brain. It is a link between the brain and the spinal cord. Controls breathing, heartbeat, digestive system, and other involuntary functions. Spinal cord. It is a long cord which arises from the base of the skull. It runs backward through the vertebral column and extends up to the tail and is protected by the bones of the vertebral column. Spinal cord receives impulses from the brain and sends them to the muscles and internal organs. It is also the center of many reflex actions. Peripheral nervous system. It consists of nerves which arise from central nervous system, that is, brain and spinal cord. It is responsible for providing information to the central nervous system and carrying commands to the organs of the body. The nerves of peripheral nervous system are of two types. Cranial nerves. The cranial nerves are connected to the brain by passing through openings in the skull or cranium. Cranial nerves are distributed to the head and neck regions of the body. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Spinal nerves. The spinal nerves are connected with the spinal cord passed through openings in the vertebral column. Spinal nerves are distributed to various parts of the body. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Autonomic nervous system. It controls the functions of the organs of the body, which automatically works without person's conscious control. For example, breathing, circulatory system, digestive system, and respiration, etc. To carry out these, there are two systems, the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system. Sympathetic system. The sympathetic system is stimulated by hormone adrenaline. This nervous system helps the body to adjust in abnormal environmental conditions through several actions. It helps to start a violent action in the body. For example, 1. Increasing the rate of heartbeat and breathing. 2. Dilating the pupils of the eye. 3. Stimulating the sweat glands. 4. Reducing various secretions as saliva, digestive juices, etc. 5. Relaxes the bladder and contracts the rectum. Parasympathetic system. The parasympathetic system controls the maintenance activities and helps to conserve the body's energy. This system protects the body from damage by regulating the physiological activities. It brings the body back to normal after the violent activity. For example, 1. Slowing down the heartbeat and breathing rate. 2. Constricting the pupils of the eye. 3. Stimulates gallbladder, contracts the bladder and relaxes the rectum. 4. Stimulates salivations and digestive activity. The sympathetic system and parasympathetic system counteract each other. Generally, the parasympathetic nervous system acts to retard or depress functions, while the sympathetic nervous system acts to accelerate them. Stimulus and response. When a friend pricks a pin in your hand, you suddenly pull your hand. Sometimes you feel hungry and rush towards food. The internal and external change that encourages an activity or a process in an organism is called stimulus. These stimuli are identified by our sense organs. In the above-mentioned examples, pricking of pin and hunger are the stimuli. Stimuli are of two types. 1. External stimulus. It may be due to heat, cold, pain, rain, smell and touch, etc. 2. Internal stimulus. Hunger, thirst, fatigue, etc. On getting stimulated, the reaction shown by the organism or any part of its body is called response. In the above-mentioned examples, pulling of hand and rushing towards food are the responses to stimuli. Voluntary and reflex action. Our body performs a number of activities day and night. Some of the activities are controlled by brain and some are under the control of spinal cord. The nerves help us to send the message either to the brain or spinal cord. Brain or spinal cord accordingly reciprocate and send the message to the different organs of the body and the muscles to act. There are certain actions which are controlled by the brain and are called voluntary actions. For example, writing, running, dancing, etc. are voluntary actions. The voluntary actions are slow. There are many actions which are performed automatically and are involuntary and are controlled by the spinal cord, which are called reflex actions. These actions are performed only due to some external stimulus. For example, when a finger burns, you suddenly withdraw the finger. The spinal cord stimulates the nerve to supply the message to withdraw the finger. Reflex actions are very fast and protective in nature. The path through which an impulse runs in a reflex action is called reflex arc. This includes sensory nerve, intermediate nerve, and motor nerve. Here, the brain is not involved. Stimulus is received by a receptor. An impulse travels through sensory nerve to spinal cord. An impulse then passes through the intermediate nerve to a motor nerve, ultimately to the muscle or finger. The muscle is called effectors. Now, the muscle contracts and finger is withdrawn. Reflex responses are of two types. 1. Unconditioned reflex. It is an automatic response without any precondition and is called unconditioned reflex. It is also called inborn reflex. For example, as you know, on pricking the pin, you automatically pull your hand. It is not being told to you, but it happens automatically. 2. Conditioned reflex. Certain stimulus, which living organisms have to learn how to respond by experience, are called conditioned reflex. For example, when you call your pet by name, it comes and listens to your command. Your pet has learnt this by experience. The endocrine system. We all know that living organisms perform a number of activities such as growth, reproduction, and digestion, etc. These are controlled and coordinated by nervous coordination and chemical coordination. Our body secretes certain chemicals called hormones. Hormones are the chemicals produced in the body that regulate or stimulate some actions. Hormones are secreted by endocrine glands. These glands have no ducts and are also called ductless glands. These secretions directly enter into the blood. Hormones travel in the bloodstream until they reach their target tissue, where they activate a series of chemical changes. Hormones are secreted by some organs but show their effect or response in other organs. The main endocrine glands are pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, adrenal, pancreas, and gonads, testes, and ovaries. The pituitary gland is also known as master gland. The hormones secreted by this gland control the functioning of almost all other endocrine glands. The quantity of secretions should be appropriate. Its more or less quantity shows adverse effect on the body. The hormones secreted by the glands and their functions are mentioned: endocrine glands and their functions. Name of the gland: hormones secreted. Functions: pituitary gland, growth hormones and several other hormones. Controls the activities of other glands. Deficiency causes dwarfism. More secretion causes gigantism, overgrowth. Thyroid, thyroxine, controls metabolism and growth. Deficiency causes goiter. Parathyroid, parathormone, controls the concentration of calcium and phosphorus in the blood. Thymus, thymosin, involved in the development of cells of the immune system. Adrenal, adrenal steroids, maintains normal blood circulation, balance of salt and water in the body, regulates fat, carbohydrate, and protein metabolism, prepares the body for emergency situations. Pancreas, insulin, regulates the level of glucose in the blood. Deficiency results in diabetes. Gonads, testes, testosterone, produces sperm cells, sexual development in males, ovary, estrogen and progesterone, produces ova, sexual development in females, maintenance of pregnancy in females.